This might just be my favorite bourbon I've ever tasted. Today we are sipping on Larceny Barrel Proof batch C921. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch, and thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. That's right, I know it's a little bit dramatic to say it in the intro, but I really think this might be my favorite bourbon I've ever tasted. Now, I just had one pour of it, the neck pour, a couple nights ago, been letting it air out, but from that first impression, I just totally fell in love with it, and that's why I'm super excited to get into another pour of it today with you guys, review it on the channel, give it a second look. Now, Larceny Barrel Proof, what is it? So it's a Heaven Hill product that they release 3 times every year. If you've ever had just regular Larceny, the small batch option, it's about $23, $25. Really solid offering from Heaven Hill. And this is a barrel proof version of that. So like I said, there's 3 batches every year, just like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So there's the A batch, the B batch, and the C batch. A is released in January. That's why it's like A122 when you get Elijah Craig Barrel Proof or Larceny. The A stands for first batch of the year. 1 stands for the month, so January, and then 22 is the year. So this is Larceny Barrel Proof batch C921, 3rd release in September of 2021. So this will be my first experience with Larceny Barrel Proof. From what I've seen online and the research I've done, it's sort of been a hit or miss, up and down experience for people with Larceny Barrel Proof. A lot of that is because Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is so phenomenal year after year, and people were kind of expecting the same level right out the get-go for Larceny Barrel Proof. The same amount of hype kind of went into it. It's like another Heaven Hill product that they're just ramping up at Barrel Proof. It's going to be great. And people said the first offering was pretty good. It's been hit or miss since then. But this batch C921, got a heck of a lot of praise. And so I've been hunting for it a little bit, trying to track it down and get myself a bottle. So full transparency, I did pay secondary prices for this. I paid $85 for this bottle. It's a $50 MSRP, but honestly, this stuff and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, you're gonna see a lot of it in that $80 to $100 range if you can find it. All right, so let's get into the specs here on this batch in particular. So batch C921 of Larceny Barrel Proof is 122.6 proof. That's 61.3% alcohol. Like traditional Larceny, it's got the same mash bill, which is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. Age statement, I think the official age statement on the website is 6 to 8 years old. So a mix of really decently aged bourbons. I think a lot of people think the sweet spot for bourbon is right in that 6 to 8 year range. So this is sitting right in that sweet spot. Before we get into the nose, palate, and finish, if you like Larceny Barrel Proof, especially this batch, smash that like button. And if you're liking all the content coming out of the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me know what specific kind of content to keep creating for you guys. All right, all that being said, too much fanfare, I know. So without further ado, let's get into what might honestly be my favorite bourbon that I've ever tasted. Larceny Barrel Proof batch C921 on the nose. Smells so good. Vanilla, almost like a butter pecan note, like a butter pecan ice cream. It's got that creamy vanilla, butter pecan, waffle cone kind of note. And then there's this really nice like strawberry, or it's probably more like a raspberry. That is something I've never picked up on a bourbon before, and I noticed it right off the bat with this one, and just so enticing. There is a good amount of like, I wouldn't call it pure ethanol, but there's something spicy in there. And certainly it's not tame, it's sort of jumping out of the glass. I've seen some people who review this talk about like a cream soda note, and I do think that that's here, almost like a bubbling carbonated sort of, it's jumping out of the glass with that. All right, pretty great nose starting off. One of the best noses I've ever smelled, and let's get into the palate now. Cheers, everybody. gosh. Oh, man. It is so, so good. So, bold is the word that comes to mind. It is bold and powerful. It's only 122.6 proof, but I mean, it's showing every bit of that 122. Good vanilla and caramel. What really takes center stage in the mid palate is this like roasted pecan, peanut, sort of oaky barrel char note that all together it's just so, so good. And then slowly transitions to this like dark chocolate note, and then I get raspberries. Raspberries on the finish, like dark chocolate and raspberries, which is such a cool experience, such a good experience from caramels, vanillas, heat, spice, sort of like a cinnamon spice, to roasted pecan nut and vanilla staying around, and then all the way to dark chocolate and raspberry. Oh, my God, is it good. Let's go back in for a second sip and just, now that my palate's acclimated a little bit, see if we can pick it apart a little bit more, see if it keeps being phenomenal. Cheers, everybody. Man, mouthfeel-wise, it's creamy and cloying. It's got some really good legs on it. I'm probably not gonna be able to see it on the camera, but they're just slowly climbing down the glass. That cream soda note comes through a little bit. That spicy cinnamon, I got a little bit more on that one. The heat is lingering for a really long time. And again, that like roasted pecan, dark chocolate, raspberry progression is there. I got a little bit more of that like waffle cone note there and vanilla. Overall, just really exceptional, complex, bold, spicy, flavorful, sweet and spicy and bold. It's just so, so good. Wow. All right. I know I'm gushing, but really, guys, I think this might be my favorite whiskey I've ever tasted. And there's a cherry note in there too. The raspberry is probably more prominent for me, but cherry is certainly present in there somewhere. All right, let's go in one more time, focus particularly on the finish and sort of pick that apart. Cheers. The nose has more of that dark chocolate on it now for me. Cheers again. Yep. Finish is heat lingers, chocolate covered raspberries, chocolate covered cherry is also present. So this great dark red fruit note and the chocolate note, and that butter pecan roasted nut note does linger for quite a while too. I will say overall, like front palate is probably like the simplest part of it, and it's not the creamiest bourbon I've ever tasted. I think there are some that might have the stronger mouthfeel, but that mid palate explosion of those roasted pecan, nuttiness, barrel char, barrel spice, cinnamon, and then this dark chocolate raspberry cherry note on the finish. I don't think I've ever had a whiskey that just progresses so gracefully and elegantly, and yet does it with so much boldness and vigor at the same time. I mean, it is really, really good. Okay, so I know I've basically just been absolutely singing the praises of Larceny Barrel Proof batch C921 in this entire video. But let me know if you guys were able to get a bottle and what you thought. If you weren't able to get a bottle last year, there is some slight chance that it's still around. I haven't seen Larceny Barrel Proof A122 yet, so maybe some stores still have this. We are getting pretty far into 2022 though, so likely not. I'm so happy I got this bottle. But I think one thing that it really does show is that Larceny Barrel Proof has extremely high potential. Like, there might be bottles, I haven't had them, but there might be bottles that are a little bit disappointing, but there are gonna be ones that are sort of like striking gold. So my advice would be keep an ear out, keep some eyes out for Larceny Barrel Proof. See what other people are saying, because this one got a lot of praise, made me want to hunt it down, and I am so, so glad that I did. Okay, so put in the comments below what your experience of Larceny Barrel Proof has been so far. Did you like this batch? Are you looking forward to the 2022 batches? Maybe in the future I'll do a comparison between this and some Elijah Craig barrel proof products that I have. Might be a cool sort of like Heaven Hill wheated versus their traditional bourbon. Lots of potential here for Larceny Barrel Proof. Maybe my favorite whiskey I've ever had. Honestly, probably is taking that spot right now. With that, you know, it's hutch worthy. Man, do I wish I had a backup bottle of this, but I'm going to savor every bit of this batch here and drink this one slowly. It might become my sort of special occasion bottle here, but just wanted to share with all of you guys that I think I might have found my favorite bottle ever, at least for now. And that's a really, really exciting thing. And let me know what your current favorite is, because one of the best things about being involved in the whiskey world is that you just get to share what you love. So until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.